Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I'm GC Smith, and welcome to day 3 of the spoiler season for Dragons of Tarkir. And we have some very exciting spoilers today. I don't know why I don't actually sound more excited, because I am super hyped for the cards we've got today. So, like usual, I'm going to start with the mythics, though there is one mythic I'm going to leave to the end, because I kind of want to talk about it for like 5-10 minutes or so, or talk about it for a while, and I don't think it's fair to leave all the other cards waiting while we talk about it, so I'm going to do one of the two mythics we've got spoiled today now, and then do the other one at the very end. So first up, we have Dragon Lord Kolagan. Really nice card, I think. 6 mana, 4 red black for a 6/5 legendary creature Elder Dragon. Flying with haste, and other creatures you control have haste, and whenever an opponent casts a creature or planeswalker spell with the same name as a card in their graveyard, that player loses 10 life. Overall, I think this is a really, really cool card. I can see absolutely why this is mythic. In Constructed, this is going to be so annoying against the decks like Abzan and whatever, which are all about like playing bomby creatures or planeswalkers. And so, if you're able to kill one of them, then as long as they've got one in their graveyard and you have this guy out, they just can't play any of those. Now, yes, I agree with a lot of people that talk about this card that I would rather have it say instant or sorcery. So at least then if you try and remove it and there's already a removal spell in your graveyard, then you're more likely to lose 10 life. But 10 life is such a huge loss in Standard, where you only lose when you only start with 20, that I think that would just be broken beyond belief for such a card. So I'm quite glad it says creatures or planeswalkers. And even then, it's quite nasty, as I say, against Abzan, even Sultai. Not so good against control decks, but this fits right at home in the Mardu midrange deck. There's actually a guy in my local meta who would love to play this. I mean, you'd mostly play it for that 10 life loss ability, because it's such a powerful ability. And it's really nice because this, in Mardu, for example, curves right well with End Hostilities or Crux of Fate, both of them being 5-drops, and then this as a 6-drop. Wipe the board, play this next turn, and hope that they have to then start committing more to the board again, and losing 10 life every time they try. So they're going to have to wait to burn it. And that's not even mentioning the fact that he's probably going to deal 6 damage the moment you play him, hopefully. The fact that he also helps by giving everything else you play afterwards haste is really good, but you shouldn't need to play much more else than this guy until he's gone. So I do think he's going to be quite nice. He's definitely going to fit into a few Mardu mid-range decks, as I say, and he might just be something that really helps if Jund mid-range or Jund Dragons or something like that reappears or appears or whatever. I say reappears considering I started playing Magic at the time of Innistrad Return to Ravnica, where Jund was a big thing, even though I didn't start playing competitively until Ferros came out, so Jund had gone. But still, it's nice to see such a really cool card. Next up, we have a green rare, the Foe-Raiser Regent. This is the green dragon in that cycle of Regent Dragons, though nowhere near as good as the red one at least, and maybe not even as good as the white one. So it's 7 mana, 5 green for a 4/5 creature dragon with flying, and when Foe-Raiser Regent enters the battlefield, you may have it fight target creature you don't control. And whenever a creature you control fights, put 2 1/1 counters on it at the beginning of the next end step. So you play it, it fights, then pass the turn. As you pass the turn, it becomes a 6/7. For 7 mana, that's kind of meh. 7 mana green removal spell for creatures? Yeah, it's kind of meh. And I say kind of meh, really, really meh. And then after that, we don't actually have any new rares. We've got a series of promos. The Deathbringer Regent, I mentioned a couple of time ago, is actually absolutely confirmed now as the release day promo. Ojutai's Command is the buy a box promo, and the artwork for this is really cool. Then we've got the Thunderbreak Regent. Oh man, this is the game day top 8 promo, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. I really like this card being around as a promo card, as a top 8, because this card is already playable in Standard. Its ability is so good, it is going to see play in Standard as a 4/4 flyer for 4. And the fact that, so it's a playable top 8 promo, and we've not really had one of those in a while. The last top 8 promo, I can't even remember what one for Fate Reforged was. I know the M15 one was the Chief Engineer, and I know the Dragons of Tarkir one was the Exile effect, the for the one with the Mardu guy in the front. So I don't know. You know, it's sort of some play, but it's not as playable as you'd expect it to be. So Thunderbreak Regent being such a playable card, I think, is going to be really nice, and going to make me want to definitely try and top 8 the local game day. So next up, we have some more. We actually have some uncommons, including a cycle. There are some other promos. I'm going to get to those in a second. Because there's promo versions of a lot of these cards, and that's how we know about them, because they were announcing promos. Next up, so first of the uncommons, we've got Scale Guard Sentinels. Is a 2-mana, 2/3, it's green, which is already quite nice. He's a 2/3 for 2. Not necessarily as good as some of the other cards, and especially since he's more mana intensive, you'd expect to be slightly better. But he does have some cool text. So, as an additional cost to cast Scale Guard Sentinels, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand. Scale Guard Sentinels enters the battlefield with a 1/1 count on it if you revealed a dragon card or control a dragon as soon as you cast it. So if there's a dragon on the field when you cast it, or you reveal a dragon when you cast it, and you're playing like a dragon deck, late game dragon deck, this becomes a 3/4 for 2. This is an amazing card for mono green like aggro. It looks gorgeous, and this is actually the artwork I'm showing you is the game day attendance promo art. So yeah, that's so gorgeous, looks so nice. Such a playable card in green. Double green makes it less playable than some other cards, but you will take what we're given. So next up we have Dragon Lord's Servant, a red uncommon for a Goblin Shaman. One in the red for a Goblin Shaman creature. He's a 1/3 with dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. This is the card everyone's been wanting for the dragons in Dragons of Tarkir. Like, people want to play a dragon tribal deck, and everyone knows like goblins play well with dragons, and it's so good to see this goblin with goblins being on Tarkir so much. It's nice to see one allow you to cast the dragons a lot quicker. You know, being able to play and the fact that you can actually curve this guy straight into that 4-drop dragon. So you go this guy into a 3-drop 4/4 flying is so nice. This makes a lot of the dragons really playable, and it's so nice to see this out. I think dragons is probably going to be a playable deck, actually. I do think with a lot of these cards that make dragons matter. Like, I know they said they didn't want lots of tribal, especially after all the tribal stuff we've had fairly recently with Minotaurs and stuff in Feros. But it's nice to see this card be playable, and there's some good enough dragons to really make this a good enabler. I absolutely love the artwork as well, with its whole, you know, the goblin bring fruit to a dragon, or meat, or whatever it is. Yeah, it's definitely meat in a bowl, with like an antler, with a deer head and stuff. And the flavor text is quite nice. We have Ataka serving goblins coat themselves with grease imbued with noxious herbs, hoping to discourage the ravenous master from adding them to the meal. Such a good card. And then we've got a cycle of Megamorphs, actually. So first up, we've got Avon Sunstriker, the Jeskai Megamorph. 1 white flying double strike. It's a 1/1 and Megamorph for 5. We're 4 and a white. So it's not a great card. I mean, even at uncommon, this card's terrible. When you Megamorph, it becomes a 2/2 double strike for 3. Oh, sorry, for 5. You have to play it for 3 as a 2/2. And then morphing up, suddenly gains flying and double strike. I guess compared to Morph, that's like the 2/2 Morph creature, it's better, and it's something to do with your mana when you get to late game. I mean, I'll pick this up simply because it's a Morph. In Limited, I absolutely just love picking up Morphs in this format. This is such a cool Morph, I absolutely love it. Next up, a Gudul Lurker, single blue for a 1/1 Megamorph with can't be blocked, and Megamorph for 1 blue. So you either play it as a 1-drop that can't be blocked for a 1/1 Salamander creature. You either play it down for 3 and get a 2/2, or then flip it up for blue and get a 2/2 unblockable. Strict upgrade, absolutely cool, absolutely love it. In fact, all of these, apart from the red one, the red and green one, sorry. Apart from the red and green one, these are all like just strict upgrades on the 2/2 creature you get. Because next up we have Morang River Skeleton. 1 in the black for a 1/1 skeleton creature with black regenerated. Megamorph for 4. So the Megamorph cost for all these first 3 just make them a strictly better 2/2 creature, which I guess is kind of cool. And in Limited, picking up Morphs is always good, so these cards are actually going to be playable. And I absolutely love this guy because if anyone remembers playing in Fate Reforged, there's the Meringue River Prowler, the guy that's unblockable. And it's kind of got the same armor as him as well, which is cool. So it kind of looks like he died in the river. I mean, he's all about being cast from the death and whatever. So clearly he died in that river, and we've got this guy from it. And that guy is marked for Sultai. Next up, we have Stormcrag Elemental. 5 in a red for 5/5 trample with Megamorph. This guy's kind of cool. It's probably one of the more powerful ones of this cycle, I can see. He's got good evasion and a fat body for Morph. Although his Megamorph is 4 red, so like unlike a lot of the other ones that were generally cheaper to morph up than the thing, this guy's actually more mana intensive. Although it does make him a 6/6, I guess. So it actually makes him stronger. So I don't know. It's kind of cool. Nice to have a tramply red thing that you can play for 3, and then if you need to can turn up. Yeah, I kind of like it. And then Salt Road Ambushers, 3 in a green for a 3/3 Hound Warrior. Whenever another permanent you control is turned face up, if it's a creature, put 2/1/1 counters on it. And Megamorph 3 green. So this is actually more expensive to Megamorph up, but its ability is so good. And you don't really want this kind of creature just like face up for a while. Because it's going to paint a massive target on its head. And by the way, I did say earlier there was no commons, by the way. We're coming to actually a common. Just realised. But yeah, no, I love this ability in a morph deck. Like, unfortunately, the 5-colour morph isn't really going to exist anymore unless you put some more morph enablers, because we're going to lose all those from the draft format when this comes out. But the fact that this is a really nice... Actually, well, to be fair, this is a morph enabler. Whenever you flip up another creature, it gets 2/1/1 counters on it, so they basically get Megamorphed. And if they have Megamorphed, then they get 3/1 counters. So that's quite a nice card, and I really like how it's actually enabling like the Ambusher kind of text. So next up, we actually have a couple of reprints. We have a Dragon Fodder. This is a card a lot of people expected to see with a lot of dragons and goblins involved. 1 in the red for a sorcery, put 2/1/1 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield. I like this card. I'm kind of fearing this card. This turn 2, followed by a turn 3 Rabblemaster, followed by turn 4 Swing, is pretty scary. That's a lot of goblins for the Rabblemaster. And the fact that this curves straight into Hoarding Outburst as well, to again put just a load of goblins onto the battlefield. The only thing that I think would really help this all balance out is the fact Barblight and Dragon's Sorrow and Anger are all in the format at the moment. But wow, that is a lot of tokens. Jeskai tokens get really happy with this card. And we have an Evolving Wilds. I think this is a promo art version of Evolving Wilds that we're going to get from the... Oh, and this is also the promo art Dragon Fodder that you can get from the game at Game Day, which you can see on the website. I might do a video about it. Nothing really exciting, but it's nice to see Evolving Wilds. The fact that it has the Dragons of Tarkir symbol, I kind of guess... Oh, it's got a collector's number as well. So yeah, it's Evolving Wilds is going to be in Dragons of Tarkir as well, which is going to help a bit with draft format, as it's a really nice land to have at common. And I need to remember from past drafting experience that to pick it up. So that's pretty much all of those cards I wanted to talk about. And now we're going to come to the big card of the day. The card I wanted to save to last to talk about it most. Narset Transcendent. Everyone was saying we were going to get a Narset Planeswalker card, or there was all this suspicion about her getting a Planeswalker card. And I'm so glad she did. And this is the card I've been absolutely waiting for. I've been wanting to, like, kind of play control for a while, but I couldn't really justify it. I just didn't like blue-black control. Blue-white was kind of more my jam. And there was kind of a Jeskai combo deck in the format, and I'm a really Johnny player, so I love playing combo. But then I see this, like, blue-white control is back. We had Ultra Command earlier in the week, and now we have Narset Transcendent. And if you wonder why we've got control coming back, let's just take a look at this. It's 2 white-blue for a Planeswalker with 6 starting loyalty. Now, I don't think I have to tell anyone who knows anything about Planeswalkers to tell you a 4-mana Planeswalker with 6 loyalty is insane, right? Normally, 4-mana walkers start with 4 loyalty at most, maybe, and even then probably start at 3, or in the case of some of them, even 2. Sure, her ultimate is -9, and we'll get to what it all does in a second, but this is such a high loyalty count, and it really screams to you, this is a control card. A lot of other walkers, like, if you want a walker to be playable, it has to have some way to protect itself. And since a lot of walkers start because they need to protect themselves because they start at say 3 or 4 loyalty, at that point in the game they're going to be hit by 1 or 2 creatures on the board and just die if you tap out turn 4. But the fact this is 6 loyalty, there's a lot of gameplay situations where you play it turn 4 and it just survives on 2 loyalty or something. And that will be enough to really get it to do what she wants. There's also the fact that when you plus this Planeswalker, she's going to be on 7 loyalty once the turn's over. Again, a really high amount of loyalty, an absolutely amazing card. Let's just get into what it does. So +1, look at the top card of your library. If it's a non-creature, non-land card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. Hello, control version of Domri Raid, or opposite version of Domri Raid. So for those who don't remember, Domri Raid was a Gruul, that is a green-red Planeswalker from Gatecrash, whose +1 was look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. And this is kind of like the opposite, because it's just the non-creature, non-land kind of thing. This is really cool. I absolutely love this. This is pure card advantage on a Planeswalker, and that's always good in control decks. In the colours of blue-white, you want a walker that gives you card advantage. Sure, it's no Jace Architect of Thought, but then this is a plus and not a minus, so you couldn't really expect it to be as powerful in some ways. I mean, if you don't hit a non-land, non-creature card, you're not drawing a card, but then generally you're hitting a land, which you'd like to be hitting lands in control decks, or you're hitting a creature, and I'm assuming if it's a creature you're running control, it's a creature you want. And the fact that we've got current set with fetch land, so if you're playing control and it's a creature you don't want, you might have a fetch land on the field that you can fetch away if it's your win con and get it back later in the game. Who knows? Just a really, I love this +1, I absolutely love it. Really cool to have a nice amount of card advantage from a Planeswalker. Then her -2, which is even more exciting. When you cast your next instant sorcery spell from your hand this turn, it gains rebound. This card is absolutely This minus, is amazing, especially in control decks. There are so many times you're going to want to actually just use this. Hello, -2 with Dig Through Time or Treasure Cruise. That is so effective, especially if you've managed to exile cards from your graveyard and just go pay 1 for Treasure Cruise. I pay 1 for Treasure Cruise, draw 3 cards this turn, and the next turn draw another 3 cards. That is an amount of card advantage that you just can't get. That will bury your opponent in this format. And even then, ignoring the fact that you can play it with things like Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time, it is still a card advantage. You're getting the spell twice, which, as anyone knows, is card advantage. Like, you're casting the same spell twice, and the spell does enough first time and still does something the second time. You've cast 2 spells, one of which was for free, thanks to Narset. There's so many cards you could want to combine this with. Ignoring the draw spells. Let's take a look at End Hostilities. You play this turn 4. Next turn, -2, End Hostilities, clearing the board with Rebound. Now your opponent doesn't even want to commit to the board next turn. So not only have you... so you save yourself when you tap out. The only things your opponent's going to want to play to the board are haste things they need to play to kill Narset or something. And even then, that haste thing, unless it kills you, is going to die next turn unless it's indestructible. So it's absolutely amazing to see this kind of ability, because it does so many things. And that's just 2 examples. Drawing cards, double board wipes, because even if it doesn't actually, the second board wipe doesn't kill anything because they don't commit to the board, against most opponents, you've just time walked them. Their turn is play a land, do nothing, or if play a land and hopefully play nothing of significance, that's a threat to you. And remember, you're blue-white, so unless it gives you immediate advantage, you can capitalize on that. You've got access to things like Banishing Light to easily get rid of any permanent they could play. So... or any non-land permanent. So this, again, is an amazing ability. And then, we've got her ultimate. -9, you get an emblem with your opponents can't cast non-creature spells. So against most opponents of the control deck, your +1 and -2 are just enough. You're going to get so much card advantage from those, and so much utility from those. You bury them under card advantage, bury them under utility. You're wiping the board, keeping the control on the game, and once you've got a control lock, you don't really need to worry about too much else. The only decks at that situation you really need to worry about are other control decks, because they're the ones where you won't want to cast the board wipe again. They're the ones where her -2 isn't that good, because it can counter the spell, so rebound doesn't really happen, because it only counts on resolution. So if it gets countered, the spell doesn't resolve, it doesn't rebound. So -9, so well, -9, okay, it's quite high, but you're probably going to be hopefully hitting it against the control deck if they can't immediately remove it, because you untap and hopefully have a cat spell and stuff back up. And the fact you can now go -9, you can't cast anything other than your one win con. Like, if you've got any creature-based win cons, sure, you can still cast them, but that's all you can cast all game. If you've got any, like, if you're like some of the blue-black decks that just don't have creatures, I mean, a lot of them do. A lot of them are running things like Tasiga. The guy from Fate Reforged, because he gives you so much card advantage. And yes, cards like him can still be cast. But so what? Oh no, you've got a Tasiga. You can't cast anything you bring back with him because your control deck, and the only reason you play him is to get your removal back. You can't cast any of that, like, at this point in the game. That is such a beating for control decks. The fact that they can't do anything, so you can bury them under card advantage, play your win cons, outplay their win cons. Oh no, they can play Pearl Lake Ancient. Oh no, like, blue-white against blue-white control, you can play. They can play a Pearl Lake Ancient. But if you've got a Pearl Lake Ancient, yours is always going to be bigger because you're going to be the only one that can actually trigger its prowess. This is such a great card. The 1 and 2, the +1 and -2 are just so good against most opponents, and the -9 helps you against the one opponent that the -2 doesn't really help you too much against. This card is definitely a control card. That's not to say it can only be in control decks. I mean, yes, everything about this card screams control, but it also screams Jeskai tokens. -2 with Hoarding Outburst and get 6 Goblin tokens over 2 turns for 3 mana. That's such a good investment. This card is going to find so many homes in Standard next season, and it's so funny to watch the forums go, no, this card's not good enough, we're not going to see play with this card. Anyone that thinks this Planeswalker is not going to see play is like the people that when Ashiok was first spoiled, thought Ashiok was never going to see play. Even though it saw very little play at the time, when I went to the Games Day straight after Theros was released, I took Ashiok to it, and he got me top 8. With this deck, because there was quite a few control players that turned up that day, and like wild control is something that's not really too worked out in the first week, which is why I didn't win the event and actually lost in the first round of top 8 because of that. But the Ashiok won me so many games against control opponents because most of them didn't have the right removal, so couldn't really kill it, and it just milled them out like really quickly. And then either they killed it at that point, but I still won the game because they would draw their cards before I drew all my cards, and run out. So yeah, like, this card is so good, and anyone that's underestimating, I'm not saying this is going to be a $70 card, $50 card, I'm not saying it's the next Jace Mind Sculptor for any reason, but this card is great, and I just don't want people to underestimate it. The fact that this card combined with Ojutai's Command and maybe Ojutai's Orator, the kind of card that was hinted at in the Ojutai's Command article, those kind of cards can all come together and help push blue-white control back into the metagame, and I'm really excited to see that. After giving black-blue control in some love with cards like Tasiga and stuff, I'm so glad this control deck's coming back. So yeah, that's the spoilers for today. Hope you guys have enjoyed listening or watching me. And I hope you guys will take the time to like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We've still got a whole lot of spoilers to come just this week. We've still got, 2 days of spoilers. Then I think this weekend is like PAX, or it's next weekend is PAX or something. But we've got a load of spoilers next week. And yeah, we just got a lot more to come for this spoiler season, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Please don't forget to put in the comment section below what's your favorite spoiler, what you're looking forward to seeing, what kind of hopes you hope we see still to come later in this spoiler season. So again, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.